What is up, ladies and gentlemen, freaks and ghouls? We are back on a Thursday night. It is spring break. Hopefully y'all are enjoying it. If you're in Colorado watching us, then you've been, what is that, the cyclone bomb, I think. So you're getting a lot of snow.
Or
maybe you're on the slopes. What'd you say?
Or stoned.
True.
Cyclone bomb. Is that
be.
indica, sativa? Is that a blend?
So in the
Sorry, Mom and
couch.
Dad.
I don't know, Meredith. You would know better.
Would not. You've been in the game a lot longer than I have.
No. Don't date me.
Anytime
Don't age me.
anytime we're at the tables with the Longhorn crew,
We do. We have three. Well, is she really though?
I don't
She's
know.
only for-
She is.
She's only for
law school. I know.
It's a cusp sort of thing. For
You're
sure.
you're not just a divided house. You're like a bipolar personality.
Absolutely. Well, the
Yeah.
goal is to pander to both sides of the jury. If they hate the Aggies, they love the Longhorns, vice versa.
I see your strategy.
Yeah.
I see your madness.
There's
Get
a
it?
slight method.
Gig 'em.
Get it? Well, we are going to have Meredith Morse joining us tonight.
Thanks for having me again.
Of course. You were on just a few weeks ago with some guy that rudely interrupted you
Pity he can't be here tonight.
because he's on spring break.
Well, he's holding it down.
Traipsing around. Oh, is he back?
It's his second shift, you know?
I thought he was traipsing around the DC area.
He is. Second shift, meaning now he's on dad mode.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I just haven't seen any. Typically, he's out there posting all of his feet pictures and cigars and everything else, and that just hasn't happened.
Well,
so.
when you work hard like that,
I'm
you've
glad.
earned it.
I'm just, it's good to see you without him around to keep interrupting you.
It's okay. He's not watching this, so
No,
you
of course
can
he's not.
Speak freely.
Of course he's not. But you guys can call in 713-807-1794 is the number. We also have Twitter up at HCCLA_TV.
Unless you're Steve Shellis, in which case we're screening your calls.
That's right.
Well, and other than Steve, Steve's usually on TV.
Who's actually in town?
Us.
Yeah.
It's spring break. Pretty much everybody is out. The roads have been. I was at the courthouse the other day. Yesterday? No, this morning. I was at the courthouse. Dead.
Yeah.
Nobody there.
I know the people watching was real lame this week.
It has been very lame. I mean, I will say this though. I was there on, I think it was Monday, and were you in the court with me when the woman came in, yelling about her baby daddy, and why he wasn't there and had to be escorted?
I thought that was today.
It's like that was the only exciting thing I saw this
That was
week.
today.
Meredith, I have a bone to pick with you.
Okay.
We were messaging back and forth, and I asked you if you were on Twitter.
Uh-oh.
And
Hot seat.
yeah.
Are you on Twitter?
I shouldn't say yes,
Well,
but sort of.
yeah. Now, this is my question, okay? Someone like you, who is well known, and by the way, you have a number of fans because every time I walk around the courthouse, the request is, when are you going to have Meredith back on the show?
Oh.
So you have a growing legion of fans.
You know what I think it is? It was the East of Eden plug. People love that John Steinbeck. I'm just the conduit. That's all it is.
That's what it is.
But your question is, how is a millennial like myself, why is my
And-
Twitter presence such a dearth?
Correct.
Yeah.
And also someone who is into puns and short, witty, snappy comebacks.
Okay.
I'm not sure how you have not taken to this like a fish to water.
Do you have an iPhone, Jimmy?
I do.
The
Because I'm a
iPhone,
lemming.
you know, it now comes equipped with the rudest feature. It tells you your average screen time.
I know. And they also have an app that came out, I saw, that you can now buy lottery tickets on your phone.
I saw that.
Oh, no.
I saw that. You know, it'd be the
That's
fun.
perfect. I'll
is
never
a
need to
scratch
leave.
off.
I know. I'll never have to go.
Scratch off on your
Scratch
phone.
off.
I'll never have to go to the Circle K again.
Well, right, and they deliver alcohol now.
Yes.
So if I can just do my lotto on my phone and get my alcohol delivered, I'm set.
You're
Scratch
set.
off.
This is what the life looks like.
So before I rudely interrupted you, like Steve Shellis would,
Taking a good page.
What you were going to say about my iPhone?
Oh, well, so it does something really rude where it tracks your screen time. And it'll say, hey, you were on your phone for, are you okay?
Yeah.
Is your life balanced? Question mark. And
No,
it's like,
it's not.
It's not. No, but I figured if I entered the Twitter sphere,
Yeah.
which even if you don't have a Twitter handle, it's impossible for your life to not have some sort of intersectionality with
That's
this
true.
social media mongoloid, right? But I just figured I already do so much mindless scrolling of my phone. I mean, there's only so many dog memes that I can consume. So I did make a Twitter handle, I think in law school, because one of my professors was offering extra credit for it. She's great, and thus
All you had to do was go sign up.
You saw my Twitter. I probably just at whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, you have like 5 followers.
Mm-hmm.
One that you're following. You have no bio. No,
Not even a picture.
Not
I'm
a
still
picture.
the egg. Yeah,
Yeah,
nascent.
nothing.
Right? It's
Yeah.
a metaphor, Jimmy.
I'm wondering if it's even you.
It's maybe one of my shell
Could be.
corporations.
Yeah. A parody account.
Shell.
Oh.
Yeah.
Good
See?
start.
See?
We're off to a good start.
I mean, what's been going on this week?
God, I
Judge
don't know.
Apparently Judge Jordan called Judge Fields to be on the bench.
For what?
I've been calling him Mike for like 6 months, 3 months actually. What's up, Mike?
To be on the bench.
No, just as in the course
Oh,
of
like,
business.
Like visiting.
But
Yeah.
now Judge Fields, I stood up. I said, Judge, sorry for calling you Mike for the last 3 months. Judge, he's back on. He's visiting now.
Oh, okay.
He's on the bench. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I did not know that one could preside and practice.
He's of counsel, correct?
That is my understanding of Tyler Flood's office.
Is that designation a term of art that enables him to also preside?
Unless he retired the of counsel and just decided to
Could
preside.
have. Could have. I don't know. That's a question above my pay grade.
I don't know. Either way, let me be very clear. I was very excited to see Judge Fields on the bench again. I said, Judge, what's up? How
Was
you
he in
doing?
16?
He was handling the jail docket.
Yeah, you're gonna have to go do some investigative journalism on that one for us.
You know,
Find out.
I have seen him. I've never seen him appear. I have seen him interact with la fiscales, the prosecutors. Well,
I like it. Yeah.
I have never seen him appear in front of a judge.
Oh, our producer is telling us that Judge Fields might be coming next week, so you might just want to hold off on all these questions till he gets here next week.
That is awesome.
You can ask him in person.
Well, I mean, I'd like to know, and I'd like to say that Judge Fields is awesome, a great guy. Mike, I don't know what to say. You know, it was weird.
You're laying the foundation early.
We can ask him next week.
Yeah, I thought that's what's going on, that one.
What else is going on this week, Jimmy?
Well, so the feds busted this college admissions scandal.
Ooh, and everyone is loving to read about it.
Yeah.
It's saturated with Schadenfreude.
Well, and then
Keep the rich.
today the article came out that they uncovered it by accident.
Yes.
Part of a securities fraud investigation.
So that is to me the most beautiful aspect of this whole ballet of fraud, right? Is that we would not know about it but for somebody else flipping on a completely unrelated
matter.
Oh my God! And I don't know if you've looked at the lawsuit, the pleadings now. You can.
This is the civil lawsuit you're talking
Yes,
about.
yes.
So,
So
let's fill them in. So everybody has probably seen the criminal indictment that came down, but
Right.
now there's a group of students who were, I guess, did not get into their
Slighted scholars.
school of choice.
Well, I think the named plaintiffs, one of them's at Stanford anyway,
Yeah.
right? And they're predicating the damages. I love this. So it's not that they're saying, oh, you deprived them of this education.
Right.
And had they had the education, they would have soared to these great heights. No, they're saying they paid an $80 to $85 application fee. Or rather, even the lawsuit is
God.
careful to designate that it's the parents who
So
pay
this is
it
like the
and the
Barbie
plaintiffs
lawsuit.
who pay them back. It's similar. It reeks of similarity.
'Cause-
Barbie lawsuit.
I mean, so I haven't seen it. Was it filed in California, I assume?
Yes, and there's an interesting reason why, because one of the counts it's alleging, like basically fraudulent advertising. That
Right.
these universities are advertising essentially a fair, impartial, and unbiased college admissions review process. And so that's one of the causes, is under their consumer protection laws.
Well, but to be fair, the universities themselves, if you believe the allegations to be true, and look, we don't know what will bear out in court, but the under what we currently know, the universities may not have known what was going on, because it seems
Yeah.
like these coaches were and the athletic departments were coming up with the scam, greasing their own pockets. In fact, I think what came out today was with UT that the foundation had sent like $500,000 or claimed they had sent $500,000 in their
Key.
tax return. Yeah, the Key had sent $500,000 to the University of Texas. The coach was accused to have only taken a $100,000 bribe, and the university only had record of ever getting $15,000 from the school.
Oh,
I mean, from the Key.
so I wonder where it trickled through. Yeah.
Right.
Lies.
So the reason that they named the university specifically as defendants in the lawsuit and not just the ringleader of the charitable organization, that they're alleging that the universities were negligent in failing to provide the necessary oversight to cut this off at the head.
Now that case may have some legs to it.
Well, I would be very interested to see. I think that this is a huge blight on the whole college.
Well, but look, I mean, you've had this issue going on in college athletics since well before time. I mean, SMU got the death penalty for it.
Yes,
for
when they were paying
athletes.
recruits.
Yeah. So I mean, you know, the college system is broken. Let's face it. I mean, we've everybody's arguing that we should have free education in this country and all that. The system's broken. And this is just one more aspect of it. I mean, I think we've all, though, but here's the thing I said today, and I want to get y'all's opinion on it, because how is what they were doing any different from the people that we all know who had parents of means or had connections, who got into UT, who got into A&M, who got into tech, who had terrible grades? I mean, terrible grades. Most of these kids were just kind of borderline. I mean, yeah, they came from privilege, but these weren't like 2.0 students. I mean, they were like just below the cutoff. So what's the difference in that or the people that we knew who had terrible grades but had connections and had some senator, state senator, or state Congress rep, you know, who was, oh, we'll get you in, no problem.
Well, I can address that. The instances that you're speaking of, the people that we all know who benefited from their privilege in some way, those seem more like one-offs. This guy, Rick Singer,
Yeah.
he had a well-oiled machine.
He did.
The lawsuit is alleging that you can be in the class, in the class action lawsuit, if you applied to any one of these universities from 2012 to 2018 and you were rejected. What? From Stanford alone, for 1 year, it was close to like 35,000 people who applied and were rejected.
Yeah.
And sure, say you receive an $80 check like 9 years after you would have graduated college. That's not going to do much for you. It's more of a symbol. But imagine these universities now having to pay that out.
Yeah.
And so I think, Jimmy, to address your question earlier, how is this different? It's because this man was serving as a nexus between the wealthy elite and access to these, highly accredited universities.
I'm glad you used the word nexus.
Why?
Because because that goes into the next area I want to talk about.
The
which is,
next area. Sorry. It's my burden.
it is your burden.
Nexus.
I wanted to talk about the conspiracy charge.
Yeah.
Because to me, this is such an overreach of a conspiracy allegation. Now, granted, the law technically allows federal prosecutors to do what they've done here, which is charge this overarching conspiracy against a bunch of unrelated people. I mean, clearly, the person here, the people here in Houston, they didn't know Felicity Huffman and Lori Loughlin and Massimo. They didn't all get together and say, we're going to conspire and agree to do this. That didn't happen. We all know
They
that.
got Massimo in it?
Yeah, well, Massimo is married
Felicity's
to...
Huffman or something?
No,
I thought he was.
That's Lori Loughlin's husband.
Oh, okay.
I thought she was married to the dude from Full House
No,
on TV.
on TV.
Oh,
Man,
TV's not real.
This is real.
this is real, though.
Okay, I go back and forth.
No, she did not bribe to get the Olsen twins into USC.
Okay, so continue. Yes, I'm here. I'm following.
So, how are they tying the universities to RICO? I get Mr. Singer. and
Well, yeah,
the
he's
RICO charge.
he's the center. What we call this is a classic hub and spoke conspiracy. Okay, Singer's at the middle. He is the hub, and all of Felicity Huffman, Lori Loughlin, they're the spokes that go around. And typically, on a conspiracy, it's connected by the wheel.
Yeah.
All these people are somehow connected.
So the universities are
But-
complicit in the wheel? Is that what
Well,
you're
this
saying?
one doesn't have a wheel. This is an unconnected conspiracy.
How do you figure?
It's like
Because they're not, they like I said, these people, they didn't agree to all conspire to accomplish this, okay? What happened is Singer met with each of them individually, okay? So it meets within the bounds. The way the conspiracy laws are written, it definitely meets conspiracy.
Okay.
But it is not like
The
we
wheels
all get
disconnected.
together. Yeah, the wheel's
Yeah.
disconnected, see? And
But-
so for purposes of determining a sentence, you're going to look at what each person. See, they've charged us
Okay.
a $25 million conspiracy. It's not. The Laughlin and her husband paid $500,000.
I see
The other
what you're
people
saying.
paid $75,000.
So these two parts of the wheel, as it were, they're disjointed. They're not
Correct.
connected. But the thing is, Lori Laughlin et Alia, they would not have bought into this but for the wheel working.
Right.
So even though they don't know these people specifically,
Right.
that's implicit in the purchase.
But this is
they
the-
wouldn't cash that over if they didn't.
See, this is the power, and this is what people I don't think understand is this is the power that federal prosecutors have. Okay, Lori Laughlin and her husband, and Felicity Huffman and her husband, they make a deal with Singer. Okay, they're in California.
Yeah.
This indictment's in Boston.
Yeah, his indictment's out of Massachusetts, but that's
Right.
where he's stationed, right? Well,
Right.
isn't that where some of the testing centers that he
The testing centers
operated?
were in California and in Texas.
Oh, right. There's that Houston teacher
Correct.
who was, man, that must have been good going while it was going.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Miss Chris, you guys remember taking the LSAT, right?
I
Y'all,
remember
they still
taking-
made y'all take the LSAT? See, I used to teach SAT and ACT.
Well, that's only if you didn't, pass the money under the
Oh,
table.
there you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you
I had
guys know.
somebody take the LSAT for me.
Well, there you go. Okay, Jimmy Ardwan Hoffman, right?
Yeah,
Hoffman,
no.
Hoffman, Lachlan.
It didn't. It did not happen.
Okay.
I took it on my own.
Okay.
Yeah.
Meretricious. Very good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's already such. See, that's something that I'm very interested to see unfold. I think right now we're looking at just the tip of the iceberg, but I want to see how the College Board itself is implicated in this because they administer the SAT, they create the SAT. You can apply if you're a high school senior graduating from an accredited university and you've bent over and you've taken all the tests and jumped through all the hoops. You have a bevy of colleges to apply from, but there is only one company that
Yeah.
administers the SAT. So far, I haven't seen
What's
them
that
implicated
movie?
in anything.
So I want to know how do you get fake SAT scores? I mean, I get how you Photoshop someone's face on someone else.
Nowadays, yeah.
I get that.
When I was applying to college, there was no such thing as
How do you get
Photoshop
fake
on my
SAT
486 PC.
I just have this image of Cameron Diaz going into that when Bad Teacher. Have y'all seen Bad Teacher? Cameron Diaz goes in, gets the administrator all drunk, steals the test, and her kids ace the test.
Yeah.
This is here's $400,000 in a wire transfer or in cash, and then somehow you give me fake SAT scores?
But why? But I mean, really, why are we so shocked and outraged by this?
Not.
It's because we've all understood that this goes on, at least at minimum at an informal level.
Absolutely.
But to watch this unravel with recorded phone calls and text messages and just juicy details that we can lay before the public, I mean, it's Schadenfreude. We
mean,
want
well,
want to watch this.
How is making a donation to the university or putting
It's
your
not
name
any
on a
different.
building, sponsoring a building? It's not any different.
But that's not what they were doing.
I
they
know.
weren't paying the university. They were paying, like you said,
Agreed.
the hub, and that's the issue.
Agreed.
Right?
Well, they were paying coaches
right.
to
Well,
create these positions for these kids to get in because if you came in on either as an athletic scholarship, which then they dropped the scholarship after they got there and they paid, so the school didn't even lose any money. That's the whole crazy thing of this. School is still paid tuition.
So, that's the interesting thing. The schools are being cast in two different lights.
Yes.
If you look at the public narrative, they're victims because they didn't know. Because
Right.
it was a small like phalanx of fraud at every single university, right? But in the lawsuit, they're named as defendants because of alleged negligence.
Yeah.
In the whole process.
I just think that they've indicted them under honest services fraud too. I don't think it's going to work. It might work for the public universities, maybe, but it's not going to work for the private universities.
Okay. So you see this lawsuit as maybe more symbolic than successful?
Yes, I think they're going to have. I think they're going to have problems with both the civil lawsuit and the criminal case.
Oh,
I think.
really?
Yeah, I think they're going to have some problems with,
With
this criminal
Singer's
case.
indictment in Massachusetts.
Yes. Well, he's pled.
Yeah. Okay, that
So,
was my understanding.
He's
'cause
pled guilty, but
the
I'm
laws-
talking about
okay.
some of the, the spokes, okay, of everything. I mean, I think you've got some real issues. Particularly, I mean, look, Felicity Huffman and her husband on the second child, they withdrew from the conspiracy. If you believe what they said, they didn't even go through with it. So
Okay.
you've got a withdrawal from the conspiracy, at least as to the second child.
Doesn't there have to be something more affirmative, like after you withdraw from the conspiracy?
I'm just saying. I mean,
Okay.
there's some interesting allegations that, and I think you've got issues with the honest services provision that was struck down in the Skilling case, in Jeff Skilling's case by the Supreme Court, and now we're going to rehash this under this theory, and then it was revisited in the McDonnell case, the governor of Virginia, a couple years ago by the Supreme
Oh,
Court.
taking the
Yeah.
watches and the other things.
Right. I mean, and it's too much to go into right now because I know we want to go into some other stuff, but just short to say, I mean, I don't think it's going to pass muster. I really don't. I think they're going to have
Does it
some real
need to?
problems.
Do we?
Yeah.
Okay, but think about this from a. If you step down from kind of, I guess, the ivory tower of our practice.
If there is such a thing.
That's why I'm laughing.
Yeah.
If you look at this from just a PR standpoint,
Yeah.
these families are tanked. These poor kids, they're tanked. So do we necessarily need a clean grab by the federal prosecutors in this, or is the PR storm?
Okay.
enough?
Okay. You're like reading my mind. I don't know what's going on here.
It's this earpiece that Mark equipped me with earlier. Everything that they're telling you, I get 5 seconds.
Okay, so that's another thing I want to address here. That they've been ruined. I mean, Felicity Huffman and William Macy, they're never going to get another acting job again. They're blackballed in Hollywood. Same with Lori Loughlin. They've already pulled. I think they've lost sponsorships. Her daughter, same thing. Her daughter was on the frickin' yacht of the chairman of the board of USC, and
bad
literally
look.
got off in the Caribbean to fly home. I mean,
It's a bad look.
right. But she's lost sponsors. She had an Instagram.
She had like 2 million followers on YouTube or something.
Yeah. So, and this goes back to this outrage, and we can talk about Manafort a little later and the outrage over his sentence and everything. But this is a good prelude to that, in that people are calling. People are outraged. Oh, these people should be punished, and go to jail, and they want long sentences and all this stuff. Okay, I mean, those people are ruined. Isn't that punishment enough? I mean, no, really.
I feel like I have this conversation with a prosecutor every day.
Well, but let me say it this way. I don't lock my doors, and I don't have I don't sleep with a pistol by my bed, worrying about Lori Loughlin.
Right.
I don't worry about Jeff Skilling.
Sure.
I don't worry about even Bernie Madoff or Alan Stanford, who got 100+ year sentences. Okay.
Yeah, you weren't one of their victims.
Right, but what I'm saying is, well, I mean, theoretically, you could say we're all kind of victims in financial fraud because it affects the markets. It does everything. Okay, I mean, our 401ks, our retirements
Look at
go
it in
down.
aggregate, sure.
Correct. Mortgage fraud, it affects our home values and our lending rates and everything else.
The penumbra from this financial fraud, it's intense. It really
Right.
is.
But I am more worried about violent criminals and how we punish them versus non-violent criminals. And hasn't that been the tone of criminal justice reform, is that we need to rethink possession of marijuana cases, driving while licensed invalid cases, all these low-level non-violent offenders. Why is it any different? Why is it any different just because these people have money? We need to throw them in prison for 2 decades.
I see what you're saying. But I think that the step down from prosecuting violent crime versus being more lenient on nonviolent
Right.
crime, right? I mean, violent crime still has an aggregate effect on the market, but I think nonviolent financial crime on this massive scale, like to throw out Madoff or Skilling or this college admissions scandal.
Yeah.
It's more symbolic. Like, yeah, I'm not worried that Felicity Huffman or Lori, whatever, they're not going to come like Berghab you.
No.
But it's the intrinsic decrease in value of the college education. I know you have children, and one day your children will probably apply to college.
Yeah, but honestly, I don't care.
Well, then we're on the
but-
same page.
No, because look, I started off at a community college because my dad, we financially, he got laid off literally my senior year of high school, so we weren't in a position where we had missed the financial aid cutoff. So we couldn't even get financial aid for me to go to UT for my first year. So I had to go to a community college first,
Okay.
and then get in because we had missed the financial aid cutoff because we thought we were going to be able to, it was going to be fine. But then that happens, okay?
Consider whether UT
But-
would have more financial aid available to you, but for
No, but that
them
wasn't
paying off in a lawsuit.
But what I'm saying is, I think college is in higher education, frankly, is overrated and a complete waste of money in this country. I mean,
Stay in school otherwise, kids.
well, but I mean, if you want to be a lawyer, it's not, okay? But you can get into law school without going to Harvard.
Right.
You can get into a law school without going to Stanford. You can get into law
The
school
richest
without...
lawyers I know went to Texas Southern.
Right.
Those of all the lawyers I know, and I know a lot, the richest of them,
A law.
a lot, went to Texas Southern.
But I mean, these people were
it's
bribing
like-
to get the kids into USC.
Yeah. Okay. So I see what you're saying. Why is there any sort of vehemence as far as punishment goes? It's because people want to eat the rich. People
I know.
want to eat the wealthy elite because we're not just feeling this disparity on a college admissions level.
I
This
agree.
is a story that hurts people, even if they have never been to college, have never thought about college.
Yeah.
This is just another. It's just another symbol of the
What
disparity.
did George Lopez say in that meme? You mean parents
Yeah.
were forging their kids' documents so they could have a better life?
What does that sound like? Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it's not shocking to me at all.
No.
And watch, no one's going to prison. No one should.
I think
think there's even been
Singer will go to
Well, Singer, but we're talking
Singer-
about the spokes.
I think
Didn't he say he
Singer
pled?
He pled.
Do we know what he's sentenced to? What do you
Well, no, he
think?
hadn't been sentenced yet. He pled literally the day the indictments came out.
Okay, because when the lawsuit just mentions that he's indicted, but then again, the civil lawsuit, I think that is again just more symbolic.
Yeah. Yeah.
What let me ask this: what were the actual laws broken? What is it? Why I didn't read. I haven't
They've
read the
claimed
lawsuit.
mail fraud. They've claimed wire fraud via honest services. The honest services provision.
You've said that a couple times. What is that?
That just means that what they are claiming is that the scheme deprived the universities of these coaches' right to honest services. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. And so
Is there a distinction between public and private universities?
I think there is.
I think there should be.
I think that's where I think they're going to have some problems because, the Supreme Court has really narrowed honest services to a public official type of bribery situation. Now, so that's why I say maybe at a place like UT, you might be able to get there. The UT tennis coach might meet the definition of a public official, okay, for purposes of honest services fraud. But I just have a hard time thinking that they are going to, be able to sustain an honest services fraud at Yale University
Okay.
or Harvard University or, any of these private universities. I have a hard time.
Let me ask you this:
Seeing that.
who's going to pick up these cases? Are there enough
They're in Boston. They're at the U.S. Attorney's Office in Boston.
on the defense side? There's enough top elite
Oh, yeah.
defense attorneys because
Well,
quite frankly, I can maybe name one or two, and there's a whole litany of these.
Well,
people.
Dan is representing the...
Cogdill?
Yeah, Cogdill's representing the tennis coach.
What happened? Speaking of Dan Cogdill, he was in the big trial with the public official
Oh,
bribery
Mayor
and for love.
Richardson. Yeah,
What
they
did
were-
it come out with? Do you know?
they were both convicted.
Dang it!
Yeah. So,
Trial warrior.
yeah.
But so Dan picked up one.
And I haven't heard who's representing the others yet, but that's the other thing why I think this could end badly for the government on a number of levels is because you've now indicted people who have the serious means to hire some of the biggest law
Yeah.
firms in the nation. And you can say what you will about, big law being involved in criminal cases and everything else, but I'll tell you what, they're going to bury the U.S. Attorney's Office in Boston in paperwork. You want to indict 50 really wealthy people, they don't have enough resources at that office to respond to all the motions.
Well, and you know what the narrative has been is the wealthy elites trying to create this separate pathway toward college admissions, but there is not a secondary pathway for criminal justice. But I feel like we are about to see the wealthy elite pay their way through the criminal justice system the same way that they have paid their children through the college admissions process.
But see, that's the misconception, I think. And I know we have a phone call coming in, but I want to get this point in first.
Steve.
Probably not. I have a suspicion who it might be. But the whole notion that the rich get justice that the poor don't, tell that to Alan Stanford. Tell that to Bernie Madoff. Tell that to Jeff Skilling. Tell that to all the guys in Enron that were convicted that did time. Tell that to Richard Scrushy. Tell that to the founder of WorldCom. All these guys did 2 decades plus in a lot of cases. 2 decades. I know people, I have clients that have gotten convicted. I mean, look what happened to Todd DuPont's client the other day in federal court. Low level, white collar criminal. When you look at the chain of command in this healthcare fraud case, his client got 20 years. Okay? I mean, the notion that white collar criminals who had money or made substantial money somehow get punished less than poor people is just a farce, particularly in the federal system.
Well, to reply to that, 2 things. One, we'll call it Todd tried the hell out of the case.
He did.
And the only one of them went to trial. But 2, I think, respectfully, that assistant district attorney overreached. He went too far. They don't need to do that. He knew her involvement, and anyone else was capped, I think at 5 or 10 or something. And the fact that he had to do that, why would he do that? And he's going to sleep better at night for that, though?
Well, but again, it shows how much control federal prosecutors have over and manipulate the sentencing guidelines, can manipulate your sentence. And so this whole talk about, with Manafort getting 47 months and all that, well, drug people don't get that. It's like, wait, you guys don't understand. You're not comparing apples to apples, okay? You're comparing, you're not taking into account that prosecutorial discretion and how it's very rarely used in federal courts,
right.
Okay? In terms of the gajillion statutes that they could charge under, and they have a mandate to charge the highest possible offense. Okay? And in drug cases, guess what? The highest possible offense, more often than not, contains a mandatory minimum that was created by Congress.
Okay.
So, when you see a drug mule, a low-level drug mule who gets sentenced to 10 years, it's because they were indicted on a statute that's a 10-year mandatory minimum. And if they had a prior case, they can get enhanced up to a 20-year mandatory minimum in some instances. I mean, the laws are punitive, and they're just as punitive in white-collar cases.
Well, that's the thing here, the people are punitive. Like JV mentioned earlier with Todd DuPont's case, that seemed like prosecutorial overreach.
Right.
Jimmy, maybe that's kind of alluding to what you mentioned earlier with the college admission scams. Maybe that's prosecutorial overreach to guarantee that there is some sort of, like, someone will pay with a pound of flesh. Now, maybe celebrities can easily pay with a pound of flesh because they've got 50 million more pounds in the bank.
Yeah.
But certainly if you don't, and I see your argument, they're not going to be able to make, the honest services, but they're going to try.
They are.
And if they'll be buried in a mound of paperwork, so be it. This is advancing their means somehow. Even
Correct.
if they don't get convictions on every single person at the end of the day, we're still all discussing it. These names and faces are still going out all over the media.
So there was a conversation out in Boston. Dude walks into the U.S. Attorney's office and says, "I got it. Let's talk about this case." Can you imagine that conversation between the U.S. Attorney out there and the Assistant U.S. Attorney or the investigator, whoever was there, and he said, this person involved, it involves CEOs, it involves actresses, California, Hollywood. That very well may be of the worst decision of his life.
Could be. Could be.
That office is about to get buried.
Maybe. We'll see. But they also may be able to get people to enter plea deals, and who don't want to try the case. I mean, look, there's a lot of risk in trying a federal case. Okay,
Sure.
There really is, and we've talked about it on this show, the trial penalty,
Yeah.
and it is really pronounced in federal court because again, they have so much discretion. I mean,
Yeah.
they could come back and offer these people, and say, hey, we'll give you a agreed plea to probation, you pay X amount of money, you're a convicted felon, federal felon, and we go on down the road. You take it to trial, and you're facing up to 30 years in prison.
They're gonna sign the deal.
And then
These
they'll-
people aren't gonna. No, they'll sign the deal.
That's right.
All right,
Depending on how hard they play ball. I mean,
$1,000,000. We'll take any case and give it to the poor kids.
I guess we should take a phone call,
Take it.
see who's on. Hello, thanks for calling Reasonable Doubt.
Okay, thank God. Finally. All right.
Oh, okay.
So, first off, I want to say, Meredith, if you're a guest, that isn't like you're a guest in someone's home. You don't have to play nice with these guys. Go at them. It just feels a little bit like you're holding back some.
I'm sorry, who is this?
Secondly, Jimmy, how can you say in 1 second that the feds are about to get buried by paperwork because they're messing with really rich people, and then the second hand say that if you think that rich people don't get an uneven shake in the courts, you're not paying attention enough. I think that I understand what you're saying about your fear and what you keep a gun next to your bed at night is not that Felicity Huffman's going to defraud USC or whatever school her and William H. Macy were trying to get their kids into. But this case is the defrauding and the robbing of everyone of a sense of fairness and the American dream. And I think that's why this is something
That is such a pie in the sky argument. The American
No, it's
dream.
not. This
Yes,
is
it
what
is.
Everybody's supposed to have a fair shake. This is supposed to be a merit-based system.
look.
If this is a rigged merit-based system,
Justin,
then is it even a merit-based system anymore? Is it if it's totally arbitrary? And we may all have these suspicions and these feelings that this has all been going on.
When's the
and we
last
don't
time you
find
saw
out,
the?
now we find out about it.
When's the last time you were able to rely on the
This
taint fair
offends
clause of the
me
Constitution?
deeply. What's that?
I said, when's the last time you were able to rely on the taint fair clause of the Constitution?
Oh, it tain't fair?
Yeah.
I
get it.
don't know
I
what
like
you're
it.
asking by that. Like,
Did they not
the
teach that to you in law
Constitution
school?
stands for certain principles that a lot of people take very, very seriously, and that the country was founded upon those principles. And being able to apply to public schools.
But
like
you don't have a
University of
right to an
Texas,
education
have
in
a
this
fair
country.
shake.
That's the misconception. You don't have a right to an education in the Constitution. You don't have a right to health care. You don't have a right to all this crap that everybody thinks you have a right to. You don't have a
do
right to
have
go
a
to
right
college.
to-
You
you do
don't.
have a
You
right to
just don't.
education.
You don't have a right to go
don't
to
have a right
college
to
in this
college
country.
necessarily.
You have a right to apply, but you don't have a right to go
Okay,
there.
So because the Constitution doesn't guarantee a right to education, you're saying that it's okay for colleges all around the country to act like we have a purely merit-based system. You get in here on your merit, but then we find out that people are funneling money and bribing people to actually get in, and then we shouldn't be outraged because the United States Constitution doesn't say you have a constitutional right to education. That's not what I'm saying.
If you ever thought the admissions process was truly a fair process,
on the principle that people should have equality and be given a shot no matter what,
I
don't think we disagree on that.
I don't think you disagree, but I just think you don't live in reality if that's what you believe. I think you got to come down and realize,
If I don't believe what?
huh?
If I don't believe what? I'm not realistic if I don't believe what?
If you believe that, I mean, all these aspersions that you're sitting here, I mean, you're just quoting what everybody believes should be done, but that ain't the way it really goes, and we all know it. I mean,
But so because it doesn't go that way, because it's just already unfair, we should just scrap trying to make it more fair?
no, I'm not
That's
saying.
ridiculous.
Well-
when we find out that this kind of stuff is going on,
Jump in the
we
fray,
should
Meredith.
squash
Jump
it
in.
like a tiny
Punch.
bug.
Justin, what do you think is going to make this fair?
Prosecuting when we find out about these kind of things?
But that's not going to stop it,
Why not?
because guess
So
what?
because-
Colleges are in
because
this for
you're-
money,
you're
dude.
skeptical of the system and you're cynical of the system. We should just not prosecute at all when we find out about this kind of
Okay,
stuff?
then how many people have been prosecuted for? I mean, look. The reality is, I don't have a problem with the prosecution of it. Okay, yeah, I mean, it's just like, but it's a selective prosecution. We don't
Every
go after,
prosecution is selective.
huh?
Every prosecution is selective.
Correct. Okay? I mean, there are lawyers down at the courthouse cheating every day on how to get cases. They have case runners. They do that. When's the last time you saw any? That's not fair to all of us who try to do it the right way.
Every time there's evidence behind it, that should be shut down.
But they don't. Everybody knows about it, dude.
Is it illegal?
Everybody knows about
Is
it,
it
dude.
illegal?
I didn't say every
Is it
time we
illegal to
know
lie
about
on
it.
your
I said
college
every
application?
time that there is evidence about it.
Is it
Every
illegal
time
to
there's
lie on your
evidence
college
of it.
application?
That's a good question.
I don't know. I don't remember what I put on my college applications, but there's somewhere in there where you have to sign saying that everything you're providing is true and correct. I don't know what the penalty is other than being kicked out of the school.
Penalty and perjury.
If it's
It's a penalty of perjury.
If it's illegal to lie on your college application, I think you should go down. If it's not illegal, then that sucks. Affirmative action. Thank you.
You know, I guess from my
I don't really understand what all that meant. But my point when I initially made this phone call is that there is a lot at stake here. And it's not that we have to worry just about, I mean, that's the problem. We try to rationalize fear. We should be worried about someone breaking into our house, and so we need a gun next to us. And we shouldn't worry about all of the things that cause our insurance to go up, our mortgage payments to go up, all the money that comes out of our pocket. We are injured by people who you listed off, WorldCom CEO, Jeffrey Skilling. People have been hurt by that. Sleeping at bed at night with a gun next to their bed, they were robbed. And it shatters people's trust in the system. And that's what this country is supposed to stand for.
Maybe
is that
instead of
everyone has
sleeping with a
equal
gun by your
protection
pillow,
of
you
the
should
rights.
sleep with your wallet by your pillow. Because we're
Yeah,
being
just keep a real
defrauded
close eye
on an aggregate
on your
scale.
bank account. Yeah,
Well,
but you understand what I'm saying.
but Justin,
I
look,
think that
I mean,
what really
but-
shocks a lot of people by this whole thing is, sure,
But
we all know
Ju-
that people
but Justin,
get up
Justin,
about
Justin, were you-
unfair means all the time.
Justin, were
But
you?
This
Okay.
is something that is now glaring in our faces, and we should absolutely prosecute this in
Okay.
every other instance where there's evidence of it.
Great.
I know of lawyers who have
So-
a high suspicion that are breaking the law, getting clients. I don't have any evidence of it. If I did, I would turn it over to the right people because it bothers me when I see that kind of stuff going on. I don't have any evidence of it.
Snitch.
Yeah.
Snitch.
Yeah, I will snitch. I will snitch if I have evidence of it.
No, if it's not against the law, then morally there'll
But
be
it
a
is
nice
against
sweet
the
in
law.
hell for them. But
But the thing is,
The kids are not indicted for lying on their application.
the
Well,
kids
the
are said
parents
to.
or whoever.
The,
they
the
could
kids
be
have clean hands, apparently.
Dude, you should just come out here and sit at the table because it's too damn hard to talk to you on the phone.
No, I can't. It's too late. Anyway, good show. Y'all got me riled up. Thank you.
That's the purpose, right?
If
We
it's
know
not-
it's working.
if it's not illegal, if it's not illegal, it's not illegal. None of them should. There shouldn't be anything about it.
I mean, look, I think the whole system is corrupt, and you're picking and choosing what you're going after.
Sure.
Okay.
This fell in someone's lap.
Yeah. They didn't do it. I mean, they stumbled upon this,
But
and
that's-
it's low hanging fruit because you have somebody to sit there and talk about it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you've got it. They're not. That's the thing. They're never going to take on. Look at what happened with the economic collapse of 2008. Okay, who didn't get prosecuted? Wall Street, the banks. Okay, they're the ones who made all that crap possible with the mortgage-backed securities and everything. But nobody got prosecuted for that.
I think one concern that Justin and I probably share is that this is just the tip of the iceberg, and that if there is
I'm
this
sure.
Rick Singer's key or the Edge or whatever, how many other machines are out there like this?
But do you have a problem with what's going on the NCAA basketball investigation, where the coaches are taking money under the table with agents and shoe companies and all that to steer these athletes to schools?
It's against the law.
Yeah.
I have a problem with it. Not if you're my client, but as a principal, I have a problem with it.
Why do you have a problem with them? See, my position on that is, why do you have a problem with prosecuting people for an arbitrary law when the reality is you're denying these kids the right to frickin' make money when they're making millions for these universities? What's
true.
worse? What's
No, it's
worse
true.
that the universities are using
True.
these 18, 19, and 20-year-old
True.
kids to make millions of dollars in TV deals and don't give them a damn thing, but then they go prosecute all these people for, hiding money under the table for these
It's
kids?
certainly not an either or. If the
Right.
government wanted to go after both, the government could go after both.
Absolutely.
Right? A sort of David and Goliath situation there.
Correct.
it's that this fell in someone's lap. It's that
That's
this
right.
makes for a great media narrative. Everyone,
Well, and that's the thing.
yeah,
I
everyone
mean,
loves this story.
It's crap on the rich time right now.
Exactly.
In this country.
Yeah.
I mean, it is.
People have blood in their mouths for the wealthy elite, and watching this story unfold, I mean, it is, if it weren't horrifying, the implications of it, it would just be simply a fascinating tale. And
Why do you think we begrudge the rich so much now?
because we want to be the John Steinbeck, right, here we go. John Steinbeck has a quote that says, "There are no poor people in America, there are only temporarily embarrassed millionaires." Right? Every one of us has this idea that we are about to be skyrocketed into that wealthy elite, right? And then unless and until we achieve that status, we resent them.
Let me be very clear.
Justin said the American dream. The American dream to me is to become a multimillionaire, and they're the exact people we crap on.
Well, you can either do it by, how are you fed the ability to, either you were born into that money, you work for that money, or you spill a lot of hot coffee into your lap at the right time. Now, don't laugh. That poor woman was mangled
I know,
by that
I
hot
agree.
coffee.
I mean, that's the biggest misconception in the legal system. I mean, it's been, the video's been out there.
That's what we're here to
Time and
unpack
again, but-
on
but
Reasonable
Be-
Doubt.
because I think my position may be different from the tone that's been occurring. All you rich Fs out there, you think you're going to get away with S? You're not. And you're going down. I'm sorry. No, Jimmy. F the rich. If you try to abuse and use your money to take advantage of people,
But
of poor.
look,
Now I'm talking right now.
All right.
Of poor people, of minorities. You think you can use your money to abuse the system, and you want to pay me or Jimmy or Meredith? We're gonna kick some butt for
but what
you.
about
But
But we
how
won't like it.
dare all of you
what about poor people who
for thinking that F you rich people for
about-
taking advantage and screwing over everyone else in this country, and both of you, whoever you are saying that crap on the rich. F the rich, Jimmy, because they're taking advantage of poor people and minorities.
What about
and
the
it
poor-
ain't right.
What about the poor people who take advantage of the system? And cheat the
Screw
system?
them too. Screw them too. But that doesn't mean that it's about crap the rich people right now. It's about crap the rich people. It's about crap the who abuse the system, and it's about crap the poor people who abuse the system. It's both. It's this human nature for anyone who's taking advantage of anyone else. Screw both of you, and both of you should go down. That is my opinion. I want to make it clear because this narrative was going somewhere different.
What do you mean?
Crap on the rich, Jimmy?
No.
No. I don't abide by that, brother. I'm sorry, but I don't, nor will I sit in here and listen to it either.
No, what I'm saying is that we've been talking about criminal justice reform, okay, for months. All right, but when it comes to Manafort getting 47 months in prison, okay, and then getting another 7, let's say this week, there's outrage that a 69-year-old man should essentially get a life sentence.
The dude committed one of the most egregious treasons of this freaking country.
But he wasn't charged with that.
Dude, he wasn't charged, but dude should go down for
Why?
it.
They didn't prove anything like that. All they did was got him convicted. of
Right,
tax
no,
evasion.
right. Well,
Well, then everything else comes in punishment.
Yes.
We're aware of that.
Get him down. Take
Okay.
his ass
Sure,
down.
you get him
But we-
guilty for that, and
but-
then you punish him.
But how do you, in one hand, say, if you are a criminal justice person saying, we need to punish these people less. We need to do more to divert people around the system because, the poor have been abused for so long. We need to divert them around the system and do this. But, these people, they need to go to prison for
Okay.
decades.
That's right.
I
That's
see
right.
what you're saying. You're saying
right.
that because they're the wealthy elite, they don't deserve to be punished more just because of that status.
Correct.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean,
If there
if
is-
you want to apply and say we need to get reasonable about sentencing, then it shouldn't be a class warfare thing.
Sure.
It should be we need, and what I'm saying is when I say crap on the rich, it is we need to do criminal justice reform, except in those cases. It's time that we get retribution because we feel the rich have been out of. This is the misconception. We feel that rich people have been sentenced lightly for too long. And so, therefore, they're not entitled to criminal justice reform on their cases. Keep sending them away for 20
right.
years, 30 years, life sentences. But the poor people, no, we need criminal justice reform for them.
no, I
and
think-
I think that's just an inconsistent argument.
is.
You
It
need
is.
to bring it across
It
the
is.
board. It needs to be justice
Fair.
reform across the board. I don't have a problem with what happened. The only problem I have with what happened in Manafort's case, I don't have a problem that he got sentenced to that. What I have a problem with is people like what happened to DuPont's client.
Yep.
DuPont's client did not get the variance.
She did not.
Okay?
Right.
I have clients that did not get that kind of a variance. So my complaint about the Manafort case is not that he got that sentence. Not at all. In fact, I think that is what we are trying to achieve with criminal justice reform. That is what in the federal system we were trying to achieve when they made the guidelines advisory and not mandatory. In a mandatory world, he would have gotten 19 to 24 years. Okay?
Yep.
But in an advisory guideline range world, now this is what we get. And so what I'm saying is with I don't have a problem with that. Okay? But it just needs the reform mindset should be applied equally across the board.
Well, part of the policy rationale behind harsh sentences is not just we are going to punish you, the isolated defendant, we're sending a message to the community. Because that message inlaid therein is not just, wow, we gotcha.
Yeah.
There's this implicit understanding that there's a lot of this going on that we haven't gotten, but punishing you, the individual, sends a message to these other, ne'er-do-wells, right? Same thing with these wealthy elites getting slapped with sentences. We know there's malfeasance going on, and we know there's a lot more of you that we haven't caught. This sends a message. I agree. I think it's important to take the accused's finances out of the picture, but I think that there's a lot of ways that will implicitly creep in, even if we try affirmatively to put blinders on and ignore that, at least for the sentencing part.
Well, it was the quote. I think it felt real good. I think there was a quote that said they were using a special system to get their kids into college, but they won't be having a special criminal justice system for them.
Mm-hmm.
It feels real good, and I get exactly what you're saying. The justice system should be colorblind. That's why Lady Justice wears this blindfold. Rich, poor, black, white, Mexican, yellow, doesn't matter.
Is that why she wears the blindfold? I always thought it was because she doesn't want to see what's happened.
So I mean that's what but see that's why I have a problem with we with like what Justin said. I mean, we have all these ideals and it should be this and that and the other. Well, why shouldn't it be spread equally across the board? Okay? Why is it that we get so outraged when it's rich people who commit the crimes and think that they should be entitled to an even harsher punishment than somebody else who did it? I just don't think that's the right mindset.
I don't think they should just be...
Because you got to understand,
right,
it's not just ultra rich people who get, average people get charged with white collar crimes too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So the average person, the middle income person, the not the mega rich people who get charged with that, should they get sent away for 20 years because they committed a white collar crime as opposed to a blue collar crime?
No. They shouldn't. They shouldn't.
So, I mean, I just think you need to, that's the problem I see is that there's just this bloodlust right now that anybody that's not a, it's not a poor blue collar crime, well, those people have been getting breaks for years. We just need to send them away.
Quite frankly, I wasn't very surprised by this stuff happening. No. It's still going on. This is just the tip.
But like I said, you came, where you grew up in the Valley.
Grew up in the Valley.
Okay. How many people did you know down there who utilized their connections, rich, poor, whatever? I mean, they're poor people. They're people from middle income families, who have connections, and they will utilize those connections to help get them in.
Yes.
In the form of political contacts or whatever.
All of them.
And the Valley is notorious for that.
Well, there's yes, that is true.
So
yes, there's nothing different than that. I agree, and I carry the same disgust on a human and moral level. It doesn't matter if you use your connections or, maybe look, if you're paying somebody, if you're doing something illegal, and you're taking away spots from individuals that are there on merit, it's just wrong. It doesn't matter if you're black, white, Mexican, paying money, not paying money, it's all wrong. And I think that's where you were going. And I 100%. And I don't see anything different than asking for a favor versus paying $500,000 to get in, because that favor is something else.
Yeah.
That very well may be equivalent of what that money, or more of what that money denomination is.
Right. But I mean, I just don't see it as, yes, okay, they're doing it in this situation, they're doing it to a coach versus, buying a building or making some scholarship donation.
Yeah.
Okay. But I mean, I don't view it.
Nope, I get that. Okay, nope, here we go. Here's the difference between a wealthy family buying a building so their kid can go to school and a wealthy family paying Rick Singer
Yeah.
his charitable foundation. A building is
To
going to
manipulate the
benefit
grades.
all of the students. A building will benefit all of the students. Give a $500,000 contribution to USC's scholarship program
Yeah.
for underprivileged students, an endowment for research. That benefits the campus, the corpus of the student as a whole. Whereas Singer's just lining his pockets.
True.
That's the difference. One is that even if the
No,
wealthy
that's absolutely true.
there's one demarcation, right? The other is that if they're making this charitable donation to Singer, they're getting the tax write-off on that when there is no there's no ancillary benefit to anybody other than themselves and
Right.
Singer. So there's probably your second.
No,
point of
look, Singer's a
differentiation.
bad dude. Let's not
Sure.
get that out of it. Okay, I mean,
Sing a different song. No.
no. I think Singer is definitely a bad dude in this whole thing. Okay, now the question is, does Singer reap the benefit of this, and what does he get punished to? Okay, and here's the conundrum you've got, right? So Singer clearly he's going to sing.
That's good.
Jim's on board.
And we only have a couple minutes, but no, I mean, so typically, I mean, look at the difference with Manafort. He's gotten the highest sentence so far, although of course not as high as some people want it to be. But you know, other people who cooperated against him, Gates and some of the other people, they're going to get lower sentences by virtue of cooperating. So, you know,
Well, who's going to get pardoned?
Manafort will get pardoned. Look, this whole New York thing, and we took up too much time on other stuff, but I mean, this New York indictment, I think they got problems with it because of this double jeopardy separate sovereigns issue. And we can talk about it a little more when we have more time, but you know, there's a case pending right now at the Supreme Court, the Gamble case, which is going to address this. And they're asking the court to overrule the Fifth Amendment exception to double jeopardy of the separate sovereigns, which historically has meant if you're charged by the feds, you get convicted by the feds, doesn't matter, they can still come back and get you on the state side of things. Well, there's a case pending at the Supreme Court to do away with that, one. But New York law already has that on the books. So you cannot be prosecuted in New York on the state crime if it was similar conduct to what another jurisdiction charged you with.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Imagine prosecutorial overreach at the federal level, hamstringing prosecutors at the state level.
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's what we'll see here.
I think there's a good chance of it. But, you know, that's going to be the interesting thing with the college admissions case, and we're going to do this quickly, but, you know, how is that sentencing going to play out?
That's it.
Singer, to me, is the most culpable, but how are they going to evenly distribute? If everybody pleads, or if people go to trial and they get convicted of it, how do the sentences play out?
People might have to change their tune.
I know. This was a quick hour, Meredith.
This was good. Hey, thank you guys for having me on again. Sorry to inflict the general public with my puns. I'm not that sorry.
No, you're not that sorry. And frankly, it is probably your legend is going to grow around the courthouse.
Oh, God.
She was on TV today. Did you see her?
I did, and that's why I think you should really step up your Twitter game. You could really gain more fans on there.
Perhaps.
Your quick wit, I think you could do it.
Perhaps.
Even if you just put a profile picture, you'd probably get a few. You'd get some creepers at least coming to follow you.
Maybe I should get a social media intern, right?
I think Justin's available.
I think he's got to cool down some first.
I know. All right, that's all the time we have for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We will be back next week with another episode of Reasonable Doubt. Thank you to our guest, Meredith Morris, my co-pilot, JV. We out. Good night.
It's a good show.
We did it again.
Good show.
This was a good
It was
show.
a good show. It's quick.
Okay.
That did go by.